What's up everybody, I'm back again with yet another video. This time something a little different from the norm on this channel. A little backstory, it's been a couple of months since I've done a proper speed paint or speed paint on this channel, and there's a little bit of reasoning behind that, but one of the reasons was because I haven't been drawing as much. The last actual picture I drew for myself was the Stan Lee tribute that I uploaded a week ago or so, and that piece was a lot of fun, but beyond that I really haven't done much. Part of that is due to the fact that I didn't want to suffer any burnout, doing a lot of commissions on the side and things like that. I was drawing consistently, but just not anything personal. So while I wasn't drawing much, I did, however, start a new creative venture, something that I actually become quite obsessed with now. For the past couple of years, I've been watching these videos where people take old dolls and recreate them or repaint, or remodel a whole heap of things that they can do with the dolls to make them either original characters or popular characters from pop culture, whether it's comic book characters, anime characters, or anything, you know. And I've been obsessed with it for the past couple of years. It looked like it was a lot of fun, so I've been telling myself I want to get into it, I want to do it. I've been wanting to do it for years, even beyond that, but watching the videos really motivated me to try to do it, you know. Why not? So I went ahead and, like I said, over the past couple of years, I picked up certain materials and things that I would need, because I didn't want to go ahead and get everything at once, because in the back of my mind I was thinking, what if I don't like it? What if I suck at it? What if they turn out terrible? Then I bought all this stuff at once and I don't want to do it anymore. You know, as an artist, we're pretty indecisive about a lot of things involved in creating. So I went ahead recently and just did it, you know. I said I got everything I needed. I picked up the final materials and I just went for it. So I'm going to include pictures of before and after somewhere in this area, and show you guys what I did to create what I created. Now, I didn't initially plan on documenting any of it because like I said, I didn't know if I was going to stick with it or not. But after doing two and working on a third one now, I can say that I'm definitely going to stick with it because it became very addicting, to say the least. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys a couple of them that I did, and then the third one that I'm working on now. And yeah, so here we go. So the very first one I created was this Sailor Moon piece. Yes, if you guys have been here for a while, you all know that I am a Sailor Moon fan, as I stated in my Sailor Moon speed paint piece. So the doll that I chose for this one was a Ever After High doll, I think. I'll show the picture of what it looked like before, and yeah, this is Sailor Moon. Now, she's unfinished, of course. As you can see, I have to go ahead and add the hair brooches or hair clips or pieces in the hair. She also wears a choker, earrings, and a brooch. So like small details, as well as like the little crescent moons on her boot tops right here. But I'll get to it. I got this far in this one, so I'm definitely going to have to go ahead and add the final touches to it. But to give a little background about what I did to make it look the way it does now. So I stripped the face paint off, the original doll face paint, with pure acetone, which is similar to nail polish but a lot stronger. With the Q-tip, got the paint off the face, the original face paint, and I drew on it with acrylic. Now, a lot of people do it differently, and as you'll see in my next couple that I did it differently as well. But for this one, I did acrylic for the face, well, the eyes, and I use a pastel pencil to give her lip a little bit of color. I didn't want to give her any lipstick or anything because she doesn't wear any, bold lipstick. So for the whites of the bust, I used a air dry molding clay, which I wanted to use originally, but I couldn't find it. So yeah, the whites of the bust, I used the molding clay, as well as the shoulder pieces right here, the little shoulder detail. Now for everything else you see with the little color, I used I used regular Play-Doh, like the regular Play-Doh you play with as a child, and I was watching a couple videos online, and this creator, she was using Play-Doh as well, and I didn't think to use that initially, and it makes perfect sense. My only thing was I was curious to know if it would harden, and if it did, would it crack? Well, I left a couple questions on the YouTube channel of the creator, and I got a couple replies saying, yeah, it would definitely harden. I noticed that it did crack in certain areas, but not like terribly to where it was obviously noticeable. But yeah, so for the bow in the front, and the bow in the back, and the boots, and the skirt, oh, as well as the collar piece, the blue collar piece, I used regular Play-Doh. And as you can see, I'm very happy with how it turned out for the bows. It turned out great, like it didn't crack at all. And for the skirt, it turned out pretty decent. It could be better, of course, but it was my first go at it. So I know now once I try it again, I'll have to be a little bit more careful, because you can see like all of the indentations that didn't turn out bad for the folds and things, but I wasn't as careful as I should have been. And for the boots, I did notice that it started to crack in certain areas, but I went ahead and painted over it with Gundam paint. I forgot the name of it. I'll have the materials in the description box. So yeah, so for the boots, it cracked a bit in the back. I don't know if you guys can see it, probably, but yeah, it cracked in certain areas. So yeah, this is Sailor Moon. Like I said, I have a few other pieces that I have to finish. Her stand, I kind of wanted it to emulate her standing on the surface of the moon, so I can go ahead and add details with paint and things afterwards. But for the hair, I did the same thing. I used the base for it. I used the yellow molding clay. Yellow Play-Doh, and went ahead and cut strips of the molding clay and just pasted it on to give it that hair texture look. Now, as you can see, the paint job isn't finished. I just did one coat. I'm gonna have to go in and add a couple more coats of paint, and then add some details for the highlights and the low lights and things like that. But yeah, I was happy with how it turned out. So before I got to finish it, I was already excited about starting another one. So I'll go ahead and show you guys the second one. Yeah, so the second one I created, I've been wanting to do it for a while. I was actually going to do a speed paint on this character. However, I'm glad I didn't, because actually I still might. Still might, some point in the future. But it was a lot of fun, and it is Catwoman. Now, I did the same thing for this one that I did with the last one. I took the original doll, I stripped the makeup off, and ended up, instead of using acrylic paint on this one, I used okay, there we go. Instead of using acrylic paint, I just drew on it with a charcoal pencil, and I used pastel or watercolor for the eye. And I'm actually more pleased with. Oh, also I used acrylic for the lipstick, because I wanted it to be bold as it is in the original character reference. So I was a lot more happier with how the face turned out on this one. Like I said, the Sailor Moon one I use acrylic. This one, I like the technique that I use, so I'm going to continue to do it that way, because it's a lot more forgiving and a lot more natural, because I use a charcoal pencil rather than a paintbrush and acrylic, which if you're not too, if your hand is not sturdy, you can screw it up pretty easily. So this one was a lot more forgiving. And like I said, I went ahead and used a molding clay to cover the joints because it's a Barbie doll, so you know the joints are visible. So I used it for the kneecaps and the elbows, as you can see, covered the elbows, and for the leg joints up here and the back. So I've just covered up all the joints. Oh, her boot is falling off. Well, her heel. I did a terrible glue job, so I'm gonna have to glue that right back. So yeah, this is this one. Like I said, I super glued the joints before I went ahead and molded the clay onto them, so I can keep the pose that I wanted. And this one also is unfinished, but all I have to do is just glue her to the stand that I created, as well as I want to get a gloss finish so I can cover her with the gloss and give her that shine because she's wearing leather. And for the stitching detail, I used a charcoal white pencil, which works great once you use the Mr. Super Clear to give it a nice little rough coat so to adhere to whatever you do to it. Okay, last but not least, the one I'm working on now that I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish like in its entirety is this bad boy right here. So yes, I am creating, well, not creating, but this one is the Retro 80s Storm from X-Men, which is one of my favorite storms. I actually have a speed paint of that one as well on this channel. And yeah, same thing applied with this one. I stripped it down, stripped all the makeup down, and I went ahead and drew the face on using a charcoal pencil for the is it gonna, okay, yeah, there we go. Charcoal pencil for the eye details as far as the eyebrows and the eyelashes, and yeah, also the white charcoal for the whites of her eyes. So same thing applies as the other ones. I glued the joints together so she could hold this pose. Except I did not use the molding clay to cover the joints on here because I didn't want to repaint it, because I don't have a brown paint and I didn't want to have to mix it to try to match it with her skin tone, and if it didn't match it would have looked awful. I would have had to paint the whole doll and I just didn't feel like doing all of that. Now this doll originally had, this is a Monster High doll by the way, she originally had cat ears, so I had to shave those off, and then I use a molding clay for the base of the hair to cover up because the original doll has shaved sides already. I was thinking of just painting that white, but I wasn't sure how that would look, so I just went ahead and molded over it. And yes, this is the air drying molding clay. As you can see, I didn't finish the ponytail just yet. Just have a little bit to do. I started with the base, a thin base, as you can see. And then I once again flattened out a layer of the molding clay, and then I just cut slits out to give it the hair look. Which I'm happy how it turned out. I was a little apprehensive about it originally, but it turned out pretty good. Now as far as her jacket, I used a molding clay again, and then I just went on and painted it. As you can see, I'm going to paint where you see the yellow. I recently, actually yesterday, just bought a metallic silver and gold paint. So I'm going to add the metallic gold on that part to give it a actual gold shine finish. Now as far as the belt details, now this belt right here, the one that's studded, the belt that's studded came with one of the dolls already. It was black, it was studded. I was like, that's perfect. It all worked out. However, instead of this logo right here, that's actually going to be the X-Men symbol. It was a lightning bolt, which also worked too, but you know, Storm doesn't have a lightning bolt logo on her belt, so I just took that off and put this one on here. And it came with the chain detail as well too, so I thought that was dope. It was perfect. And what else did I do? Okay, so same thing, I covered the joints with the molding clay. And now these boots actually came with the doll as one of the dolls, I can't remember, but if you look closely, the detail in it, well, they were originally like a bright pink color, so I just painted them all black for starters. But as you can see, there's a stud detail in it, so I can go in and add the color with the metallic silver that I have to bring more detail to the studs and more attention to the studs. And there's also a zipper on the side as well. I don't know if you guys can see that. But yeah, the boots are highly detailed, and I was like, that's perfect. I don't have to mold any boots. I could just paint these black. And they were open toe too, so I had to put like a toe front on it to cover her toes. And so yeah, that's this one. Anything else I plan on doing with this one? I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, I just have to finish the buckle. I'm gonna put some stud details on her armbands and her choker as well. Normally they're like spikes or something, but I'm not doing spikes. It's too much work. Too much work. So yeah, this is Storm, as you can see. And yeah, I didn't really feel like doing all of the extra, like, you know, molding as far as the joints go, because it's a lot of work, and then having to match the paint colors and all that stuff. I just didn't want to do all of that. So this is what I got so far. And again, I glued the joints to, you know, hold the pose. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So out of all of them though, this one is probably the one I'm having the most fun with, because it's such a near and dear character to my heart. Also, the doll already had gloves too. As you can see, they were like a teal color. You can probably see, because I didn't like paint them in full detail. I just painted over them quickly to give myself an idea of, you know, what it would look like. So yeah, this is her. She's unfinished, but yeah, I think she's turning out pretty good so far. All of them are turning out pretty good so far, but this one I am definitely having the most fun with. So yeah, that's it. That's what I've been doing. I don't know if y'all would like to see more of me doing that. I would love to actually do some videos like of me in process, you know, but I'd have to figure out how I would record that. Because my camera is pretty stationary up here, and I have like no room or no space on my desk for anything. I have to clean it off actually. But yeah, I could possibly figure out something. As you can see to my right over here, that's my station with all the things that I use for the creation of these dolls. So I probably have to figure something out. But anyway, that's what I've been up to. I don't want to keep rambling on too long, because you guys know I can ramble and go off into other things, off into space, and probably never come back. So I want to go ahead and thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys for supporting this channel, and to all my new subscribers that I've been seeing, you know, peeking through. Welcome to the family. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, and yeah, have a good one, and I will catch y'all later. Peace.